one of the most important ways to not get targeted or attacked in prison, one of the most important things you need to know is posture. So I'm going to give you guys an example between this and this. It's huge. Animals try to make themselves look as big and imposing as possible. So if you're around criminals or, bad people, things like that, you don't want to give submissive, shrinking body language. You want expansive body language that communicates that you're big and that you're a threat, and on a primal level you're going to communicate to others that, oh man, this guy could probably hurt me, right? Beyond the simple posture and body language, there's something way more important than that, because I've seen people with bad posture and bad body language still survive in prison, and it's community. If I walk into a dorm and several people are like, hey, Jared, what's on? What's going on, man? Like, several people walk up to me and, give me a big old hug and give me some coffee, and, you know what I mean? Several people, want to talk to me the moment I get in there, and people are, happy to see me, 2 or 3 people. That lets all the other people in there know that are potentially predators, oh, man, this guy has friends. This guy is liked. There's politics involved here. There'd be consequences for messing with this guy. There's people that like him, right? The fastest way to get that type of community is by joining a gang. But in prison, there's racial and ethnic allegiances and all this different stuff. And you don't really have to be a gang to take advantage of that dynamic. And so toward the end of my bid, I actually would see younger dudes coming in, and I'd barely know who they are, but I would greet them and say hello, and I'd do that just to sort of make it look like he had more of a community than he actually did. So I would actually be protecting him just by saying hello to him and giving a cup of coffee. Because what that signaled to everybody that was watching, there's people in there that watch every fucking thing. And so what that signaled is, oh, Jerem's got this one under his wing, basically. And in reality, that's not really what it was. It was just, I wanted to help this guy give off the perception that he had some friends. Because I knew this guy didn't do drugs. I knew this guy wasn't used to prison. I knew this guy wasn't a bad dude. But I also knew that people wanted to target this guy. And so to help this person, I would say, hey, what's going on, man? And I would act like I know this person better than I do. And I'd make a big scene out of saying hello to this guy. And I would do this to basically give him a free blanket of protection. And it would also offer me a free blanket of protection as well, because now I've established, I've established friendship with this guy. Gangs do it extremely deliberately. Gangs have turned this into an art form, making sure that one of their guys is greeted, and you make a big scene out of saying hello to your buddy when he gets out of the box. And the reason you do that is you're signaling to everybody, hey, this is my friend. We have a de facto gang going on, right? And so just groups of friends is de facto kind of a gang in prison, because it's this is a group of dudes that kind of look out for each other. And so how does this extrapolate to real life? This does extrapolate to real life, right? Out here you have predatory people. You have moochers, you have manipulators, you have narcissists, you have things like that. And out here, if those people see that you have family that cares about you, if they see you have a community that loves you, if they see that they're not going to get away with messing with you, they're going to hit the road. And so that's why you need a community out here. Your most potent weapon in prison, I would say body language is actually number 1, to be honest with you. On an animalistic level, yeah, I'd say body language is number 1. But you guys already knew that. But the community aspect of literally just having somebody say hi to you and give you a cup of coffee, everybody sees that you got a cup of coffee straight out of the box. That means that you're somebody in there. It doesn't mean you're a kingpin, but it means that you're accepted within the community to some extent, right? And that alone will keep people from targeting you. But the biggest thing you have on your side in prison and out of prison and in life in general is your tribe, and it's your community. And I'm not going to lie to you, I lost sight of that the last year. The last year I went into monk mode, and I've been all by myself and stuff. But my girlfriend gets out of prison soon, and I'm starting to hang out with my neighbor again. And I think I needed that time to myself. After 5 years of constantly being around other people every day, all day, I think I needed that year to myself. And for the most part, I had some friends come over occasionally, but for the most part, I've been kind of by myself and pushing people away for the past 365 days, right? It's just the truth. But I've had to remember how I was able to survive, the reason that I'm alive, the reason that I'm not dead, even though there are people out there that hate me and want me dead. The reason I'm alive today is because of community. And that's the thing. You guys need community. That's the number one thing that keeps you alive in prison. And that's the number one thing that keeps human beings alive in general. And so that's the answer to the question. I've been asked, how do you keep from getting attacked in prison? How do you make people not mess with you? And everybody thinks it's, oh, you got to have a reputation as a guy that's crazy and unpredictable. Yeah, I mean, that can work. But just having a good community, doing good business, and just having people that like you is probably the number one way to survive in there. And it's the same thing out here. It's not what you know, it's who you know. What you know is important too. But networking, community building, stuff like that. And another thing about the body language is you look all shrunken and hidden. It's not an energy that attracts other people. People don't want to really be around that. So get better body language, better posture. It was a matter of life or death for me in prison. And man, I still like hunching down. I'm not going to lie. I like being lazy, And if I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt thing and I'm trying to look like a tourist and I got a disguise on, I might do that on purpose. But for most situations, you want to use good body language, good posture, and you want to, like the boomers say, firm handshake and all that, right? That can go a long way. I know we laugh at the boomers when they say that, but I was born in 1995, and I can tell you that a firm handshake does go a long way, especially considering that's what the older people value, bro. Like it or not, that's what they value. And I'm not saying that's how you get a job. I'm not saying that's the only thing you need to get a job, but I am saying that is what the older generations value. But if you want to keep bad people away from you day in and day out, a strong community and social proof that you're not alone is what you need. You need social proof that you're not alone. And if you can't get that organically, then you have to fake it, which there's ways of faking it as well. But either way, you have to have social proof of a community, either real or forged, preferably real. Anyway, that's my take on how to avoid being targeted in prison, where you don't have all your fancy tactical gear, you don't have all your gimmicks and stuff, you just got a blue prison uniform like everybody else. That's my take on that. This is not to be confused with my video for the free world. But this is how, specifically in prison, we avoided those situations. Now, like, comment, and subscribe, or Bob gets it.